Hi, everyone. I'm actually with Bison Trails. My name is Victor. I am one of the team members over there. Bison Trails actually provides infrastructure. We help people run nodes. And so what we've done is we've built an orchestration platform that sits on top of multiple cloud providers and enables anybody to, just in a couple of clicks, come and deploy nodes, their own nodes, anywhere in the world on multiple cloud providers. And these include, of course, Ethereum Geth nodes, but you can also do validation infrastructure such as Tezos Bakers and Cosmos validators. And as such, what we're trying to do is democratize access to these different blockchains and enable, not only to developers for them to more easily build upon them, but also for users to use them. One thing that I wanted to talk about today is actually how we're looking at the storage ecosystem that we're incredibly excited about. And one thing that we've been noticing that we would like to draw attention to is that in many ways there's a mentality of build it and they will come. And it's something we pay a lot of attention to because oftentimes with projects, especially in early stages, there's a lack of clarity on who the end users are. What use cases are they aiming to actually leverage your specific platform for? How those use cases are different from your competitors and obviously from centralized solutions and DIY solutions. And lastly, who the token holders are. If your project utilizes a token, if it has any kind of staking requirements, whether it's to actually participate in consensus or whether it's to provide the storage and there's some kind of relationship there. It's incredibly important to know who these people are and understand what their priorities are. And we're seeing some folks say that they're targeting app users, for example, or app developers rather, for example. But that's a pretty broad demographic, I would say, in that if you've spoken to any two app developers, chances are they're building vastly different things and have vastly different requirements. And a similar thing for web pages, right? If you're archiving web pages, what for? It seems pretty intuitive to do, but is it, for example, as part of the legal system? If you're making these judgments and the judgment references some outside URLs and all of a sudden these start going offline, and that's a huge problem. Or is it in academia when you're writing a thesis? Or is it a simple bookmarking tool that's maybe a little bit better than existing solutions because it is portable and because it's up there forever and it's easily searchable? And these things are important. They also apply to the token holders. There's a pretty big, there's probably two approaches or two relationships the projects have to be cognizant of. And one is whether they expect existing token holders to actually be the ones to either go and start providing storage or actually partner with storage providers. And of course, that's more important if these projects have actually raised from VCs and other large investors that may not specialize in that and may not know how to approach it. Right, that's a significant bottleneck. On the other side, it can look like there's an expectation that storage providers, existing businessmen and women all over the world, are then going to go out and actually acquire these tokens either in the open market or in OTC to actually be able to provide these services. And it's important to understand the relationship of those token holders to your project because it actually changes how you invite those participants into your ecosystem and build this multi-sided marketplace. Storage projects, we think, are really very special in that in many ways they straddle the line between protocol, product, and service in that not only are you building this platform, but you have to be thinking and be extremely cognizant of the later order effects that are going to come about. And ultimately a large push towards adoption will be from infrastructure companies like Bison Trails and many others to actually provide tooling and resources on top of these different platforms to enable people to interact with them more easily. One thing that we're incredibly excited about is to build an SDK, probably in the next couple of years, that is actually able to sit on top of multiple protocols and use the very best parts of them. So if you're an app developer that wants to create something and you come to our platform, you can get just the features that you want in the way that you want them, and then all of that is kind of handled directly, automatically. And for that, of course, we have to know what the specific use cases are that your protocol is particularly good at, and how we can best combine that with the other ones that we see out in the market. And so, we think that these things are incredibly important to talk about and to keep in mind, just because we're so very excited to democratize access to decentralized storage for all participants in the world. So thank you very much for